This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Mike Sedita.
Hello out there. Welcome to episode 78 of the Good Neighbor Podcast. My name is Mike Sedita, and we are in for a treat. One of my favorite professions on the planet is dentists, because I am, like, some people are afraid of clowns. I am afraid of dentists. So today we're going to break down that fear with Hillary Dalton of Dalton Dental. Hillary, how are you doing, Dr. Dalton?
I'm doing awesome. It's almost Friday.
It's almost Friday. We're getting close to the weekend. Thankfully, it'll probably rain all weekend, but whatever. It's kind of the way it's been going.
I'm good with rain. I'm good with rain, not hurricane.
Knock on wood. I'm knocking on some wood. We have been pretty good so far, so we'll see how this weekend goes. A little bit about the Good Neighbor Podcast, just so you're kind of filled in on it, is essentially back in 2020 when COVID was running wild in Florida for the 5 or 6 months that we had to suffer through it. A gentleman by the name of Charlie McDermott started the Good Neighbor Podcast in Southwest Florida. And it was really just a way for businesses and organizations in the community to get out the word about what they're doing, because businesses in the community are a valuable asset to what makes a community the community that it is. And over the past 3 years, the Good Neighbor Podcast has grown. We are now a national podcast for a local audience. We have podcasts from South Florida all the way up to Virginia and everywhere in between. So I'm lucky to be the person here in Tampa that gets to talk to business owners and find out some of the stuff they have going on. So with that said, tell us a little bit about Dalton Dental.
Sure. I grew up in Tampa. I'm native. Something unusual now, especially after
you're
COVID, you have everybody from everywhere, which is fun too. We always need change. That's part of it. Dalton Dental, I'm actually a periodontist. That's a specialist of the gum and bone, a mouth surgeon. But I've evolved because I'm really into cosmetics. I still use my surgical background, but very gently with the laser, so things don't hurt, Mike. Just want to make sure to say that.
All right. So far, so good.
And I'm a big baby myself, so FYI. But the main thing, we're really into cosmetics, and we've kind of evolved and become known for veneers, and so we do a lot of gum recontouring, or you get if you're missing a tooth, you get an implant, and then we recontour it and reestablish your smile. With that, you gain confidence, and I just really love that. That is what makes it so rewarding for me, seeing these people come in and go out with this confidence, get a new job. They're going exercising at the gym. Their life is changing, and it's really exciting and rewarding, and I love it.
So I mean, that's got to be a big thing, right? Like, this is audio, so people can't see it, but like almost people coming in with that sheepish, not really showing their teeth, afraid to smile because they don't like the way their mouth looks. And then after seeing you and getting surgical cosmetic surgery on their mouth, essentially, you get to see them leave and they have like pep in their step, and it kind of gives them a new lease on life.
Even eye contact, when someone doesn't feel secure, we all go through time periods. I mean, COVID shook me up myself, so I'm getting back in the game at the gym myself. But it just, when they have a hard time because they don't feel confident, and then looking at you in the eye, or even how you talk. So once you reestablish their confidence with the smile, they're able to make that eye contact and confidence. And when you can do that, it helps you get a better job, maybe a promotion. We've seen that too, where you're like, I am worthy of that. I can do that. And I love it.
So do you see, like, from a demographic standpoint, what is is it a wide variety? Is it young? I mean, obviously adult teeth have to come in on a person, right? I don't think you're doing too much cosmetic surgery. I mean, unless there's some of that, pediatric stuff, but the garden variety, who is your average patient? Is it somebody anywhere from 18 to 65, or is it mostly older?
Oh, no, they're young. We have people coming in, and I don't really take a lot of selfies, but when I do, you do really are critical. And each one of us are very critical of, ourselves. Like, even doing this podcast, I'm like, oh my Lord, my nose, I got to get this angle and people are like that with their teeth. I'm telling you, oh my gosh, their teeth, and they're like, they don't realize their tooth. You know, we come up with people like, I have a shadow, or it's out of line. I didn't know that, and I need to get it fixed. So, you know, maybe we use Invisalign, maybe veneers.
And
like,
you
oh
do that
my
as well?
gosh. Yes.
You
And
guys do the Invisalign as well?
yes, we do a lot of Invisalign. So we're kind
Yeah.
of we've evolved into like a specialty boutique practice.
Okay.
So you come in, we make sure your gums, think of it like building a house. We make sure your gums are very healthy, because the gum and the bone is the foundation of the mouth that holds the teeth in. We also aesthetically make sure they're even and contoured properly. Like some people have gums way up, so we have to shift them down. Some people have uneven gums. So we correct all this, get that, establish that health. Then we can build the house, which is veneers or crowns or whatever you need, so that house is built on a solid foundation.
So have you ever had somebody come into your office and say, Dr. Dalton, I am a huge fan of vampires. I want my teeth shaved into the shape of fangs. Has anybody ever come and done that? And would you do it if they did?
No, but that's TikTok. Oh my God, it makes me crazy. People are filing them. I have only met one person that did have the vampire teeth, and he wasn't coming as a patient. He was coming, I forgot to give me a quote on something. And I had never seen it before. And I said, oh my goodness, TikTok's for real. It's really
TikTok
real.
Got him. TikTok got him. There's people out there. It is absolutely crazy. So let me ask you, from your perspective, like when you were a young lady and you were, you know, playing with dolls, were you like the little kid
Barbie
from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer? Did you always want to be a dentist? Were you like the little elf that always wanted to be a dentist, or did you have aspirations to read French poetry on the Louvre, or was like, what was it?
That is good you said that. Okay, you know I'm a huge Barbie fan. I love pink. I did manifest my life through the Barbie dream house. People make fun of that, but if it is very real. Barbie Land is wonderful. So I always knew I wanted to be some kind of doctor. Helping people is what I love. And helping now, empowering. Now we're kind of adding that empowerment with it, confidence, unstoppable confidence, to help people live better lives. We're evolving. So what I'm saying is, I didn't know exactly what I wanted. I knew it was some type of doctor helping people of some sort, but now it's evolved to where I am today.
So where do you kind of take that crossroad? Is it while you're in college, while you're going to your undergrad? You kind of like to start to lean that way.
Because whether you're vet, medicine, dentistry, physician's assistant, they're all basically, well, more, you have a foundation that you have to go, physics, they all have to, it's called pre-med track.
Right.
Anytime you're going to be a doctor, you do this pre-med track, what they call it. All of us go through it. So about at that time, I kind of, I had a cousin at USF in med school, and I was trying to figure out, you know, I'm artistic. I'm not just, I have a little different, so I have that artistic edge with that. So I'm like, what am I going to do? How am I going to, you
combined them well. I mean, that's a good combo.
Yeah. So it came out, and I have a good life balance. I was like, how can I do this? And my cousin was in med school, and she was on call, and she had a little kid at the time. And I went, oh my goodness, I don't think I could sleep at a hospital all night. I wanted a family life. I wanted that balance in dentistry, and it could give me exactly what I needed to be. I could be an artist, a scientist, and help people, as well as have that balanced life where I could live a life.
So when you get done and you get all your boards and you're certified and do all that, do you work for another person's practice for a period of time, or do you get right out and say, I want to be an entrepreneur right out of the gate?
No, you have to learn, because I have no business. Let me describe it. Let me back that up. I'm street business. Okay. I have no education, formal education in business, but I think street business, you learn a lot. So to learn street business, that has taken me a while. And I work for you have these corporations like Coast Dental, Aspen, Heartland, all these corporations. And that's where I started learning how they're running a business, because you do need that. And in fact, I think they should really teach that in high school. I think we all need business courses and finance courses. I think it should begin there. But anyway, you have to work for somebody else. Well, you don't have to, but You might have the
It's
means
good to get that foundation.
But that's what helped me. I worked for these big corporations, and I decided, we're not on the same vibe. I'm looking at a humanitarian. I'm looking at helping people, and if you love what you do, the money's going to come. You can do it, but you have to really enjoy it. I think, especially if you want it long term. This is not just. It's a long term. It's your passion.
Well, it's funny you say that about the business side of it and the medical side of it. I had a good friend of mine growing up. One of the smartest guys I knew growing up, like just one of those guys that you could put in a situation, he could just figure book stuff out like that. Mm-hmm. And he went to Penn State. He got accepted at State College, like out of high school, which is, they take a certain amount of kids at Penn State to go to Happy Valley, and everybody else kind of gets scattered around the state. And he started as pre-med, and then after our freshman year, I said, what are you thinking? And he's like, I sat with my advisor, and my advisor was like, look, if you want to be a doctor, you could have a business management degree and go take your exams to get into med school. He goes, if you go for 4 years pre-med and get out of college and decide you don't want to be a doctor, now you have this pre-med degree that you really don't, it's a lot of science and all this other stuff that you're really applicable. Maybe you work in a lab or do something like that, but you're not going to practice medicine. So he ended up switching his major and went for 4 years for business, and, smart advice from an advisor, because he ended up working in the financial field after he got out, and he had kind of lost interest in the medicine. It wasn't his passion. So having that broad background, whether you get it in school or like you did, getting out and finding your passion and then learning the ropes into like the business side of it by almost like a apprenticeship, even though it's not an apprenticeship.
Yeah, no, exactly.
So we're going to get back to the Barbie thing in a minute. I have not forgotten about the Barbie thing. So we're just going to hold off on that for a second, because I have a couple of things in between there. So what is one of the biggest things when people come to you, like a myth or a misconception where people might come to you and think, you're going to be able to do like a magic wand and change everything, and you kind of almost have to educate? I know one for me with the dentist. I'll tell you after you tell me what you get, and we'll see if I'm just an idiot or if mine actually matches up to some of the stuff you get.
Well, I kind of, you do a really thorough examination and analyze a 3D analysis of everything. Besides, x-rays and all that, I even come in, I do my exam, analyze it. Then we have a conversation. Well, first of all, what are your goals? Because everybody's goals are different. I see the world differently than someone in my chair. And they're like, well, this bothers me. And I'm seeing they're missing a tooth over here. Well, they don't really care about that.
Right.
They want to do something about the front. That's what concerns them. So that's what we deal with. So we kind of go in and work as a team and collaborate. That's how I like to work with my patients. All right, so let's accomplish your goals, but let's also create a healthy situation that these teeth that you have will last you. And it's not just what we do here. There is a home care. And sometimes I work anyway. How I describe it a lot with the gym, you go to the gym and you're wondering why am I not losing weight? And hello, you're not using the right machinery. Okay, dental floss. You're wondering why you have food stuck in between your teeth. So we go through this analogy to help concept, and they're like, that is right. I don't use floss. Well, that's the reason. So let's start using. So then my assistants come in. It's an education, because you have to change habits.
Do you ever break out a ruler and smack people on the knuckles to tell them to floss more? Do you ever do that?
No.
Even if they want that? No, I'm just kidding. So do you?
We don't go home with them. No. I guess
that is the biggest thing. I mean, I've gotten yelled at by my dentist so many times about not flossing. So really just educating people is the biggest thing. See, for me, I always had relatively straight teeth. At one point when I was about 17 or 18, I had really bad impacted wisdom teeth on the bottom of my mouth. And it kind of made my bottom teeth a little offline. So then I said, well, maybe I'll get Invisalign. As an adult, I'll get Invisalign. And I don't know what I was thinking. I did not realize that they put the anchors on your teeth. I just figured it was like this tray, and you use the tray, and the tray did all the stuff. So that was a misconception that I didn't know, that when they started doing these anchors, I'm like, what are you doing with these things? So it's kind of like having the braces, but I didn't realize that. And then of course I got the Invisalign done. I spent all that money to do it, and then I lost the retainer, and I haven't maintained it as well. I'm terrible. I mean, I would be knuckle wrapped with a ruler if I came in by you, because I'm just bad at following up on that stuff.
We would change you because it takes time for change.
Well, I mean, that's a gym analogy. You know, I mean, it's consistency. It's not just what you do in the gym, but the other part of that analogy is, why am I not losing weight? Well, I go home and I eat chicken wings, and even though I go to the gym, my diet isn't right. So there's two sides to it, the home side and the doctor side. So I get that.
Right. And you have to, and it takes time. It's not an overnight thing. People think flossing is easy. It's really not. So I always say, get a water flosser.
Well, that's what I was just going to ask you. So, you know, is there products out there that are as good with floss? Is it just a water pick, or is it? Is there other stuff out there that you would recommend people could use if they didn't want to sit there and do the whole wind up and
that's the thing. People don't want to do it. I get it. Sometimes I don't want to do it either.
Right.
But I have to kind of lead by example. But what I always try is new products. And I love this one now, Waterpik, which is a wonderful brand. You go on Amazon, it's $40 for this new water flosser. And people also hate, getting their mirror messed up. So there's a lot of things. I get it because I try everything myself. And this water flosser you can take in the shower.
That's cool.
People like it. They put it in the shower. It doesn't cost them much. If it breaks, you're not going to cry about it. But
right.
If it was like $200, $300, you're going to cry about it. I cry about it.
Listen, I get it. I have the Oral-B, the one that does the round and round, and I use that. And then sometimes when I'm in a rush, I brush my teeth with my regular toothbrush. I do the same thing. Let me ask you this. Speaking of TikTok, we kind of touched on TikTok earlier with the fangs. There's this thing I see on TikTok all the time. Is it for real or not? The stuff that's purple that you brush your teeth with that's supposed to help whiten your teeth. Have you seen that one?
I've seen a few of them. I think is this a charcoal-based product?
Something like that, I assume. Yeah.
I've tried it myself. In fact, I've tried the best. They have a company out of Switzerland. So I get a lot of free samples. We do a lot of research here. So anyway, I got a free sample. You got to be very careful because it looks, your teeth turn either blue or completely black, and then you brush it off and you're like, wow, my teeth are whiter. I think they're cleaner. I'm not sure about whiter.
It's like an illusion because they were just
it's an illusion. But what I noticed too is that, it's from the research, they have abrasives. What is an abrasive? It means it scratches your surface.
Taking the enamel off.
Scratching, you're going to take your enamel off. And I was like,
And I've seen recently too, do they actually make like charcoal bristle toothbrushes now?
Is that yes. You can put it in your body. You can put it on your toothbrush. I mean, the activated charcoal comes in all kinds of forms.
Yeah, I don't know. There's so many. That's the biggest thing for me from a dental standpoint. So, like, I prefaced this whole conversation with being a giant baby. I'm a 6 foot, 240 pound giant baby when it comes to the dentist. But part of that problem is my age. Okay, so I'm 51, and the dentist for me as a kid was like drills and the smell and
that's what trauma.
So it's like PTSD from being a child. And the times I've gone to the dentist, in the last 5 years, the technology is so incredible that it's changed, that it's just, not like it's going to I'm not going to go that far to say it's like going to a spa, but they do try to make it feel, you guys try to make it feel very spa-ish, the dark glasses and all the different stuff. And so that is a big improvement. I mean, I'm sure you've seen a lot of that.
And I like to work in a relaxed environment. I don't want high blood pressure. Right. But we do. On the screen, I don't like news or anything, and I want our patients because that gets me excited. Especially these last few years, all the negative energy. So when you put, like an under the sea, so usually you're watching fish. Sometimes sharks do float by, but no one gets anxiety about it because you're not going to get bitten. It's very relaxing.
So when will you start running the Barbie movie on a loop on the television? So you've clearly usually I ask everybody, what do you like to do for fun? So we can skip that whole entire question and you can fill me in on Barbie. How many times have you seen the movie?
Just once. Just once. Yet. But I'll see
And you enjoyed it.
I loved it. There's a lot of meanings. And so just to take away, because you can be anything. Again, I play with the Barbie. I always believe that.
Right.
Barbie back then, I'm still 21, but Barbie still always gave you that. You can be whatever. And, right. But from the movie, anyway, bottom line, Ken has joined our office because we are now Ken inclusive. So we're doing a campaign. That's our next campaign. But Ken came here and I didn't realize that Ken felt left out. And so we have a lot of people taking selfies with Ken. He's got the 6-pack just like the movie. People give him kisses when they leave. And I'm like, oh my gosh, he's becoming more famous than Barbie. So that is what's kind of evolved in our office.
So, all right. So that I have so much stuff to unpack here. First off, let's back up and talk about Barbie in general. I think what kind of happened with a lot of that type of stuff, and not to get into a whole philosophical or social issue, but I think special interest groups over a period of time, like I always felt like when I was a kid, it was G.I. Joe and Barbie. G.I. Joe was the masculine army guy. Right. Guys were supposed to kind of try to emulate him, and USA and that whole thing. And Barbie was this feminine woman that could do whatever she wanted to do, but she's pretty and she's made up and she's blonde and all this other stuff. And I think as our society has evolved, it's almost become like trying to find the thing that's wrong with something to make it less valuable or to make it less cultural. I don't know, but everything I've heard about the Barbie movie I have not seen it. I would have no problem seeing it. I would have no problem seeing it by myself, to be completely honest with you. I don't have that issue, but everything I've heard about it, it's phenomenal. The messaging is good. It's appropriate for multiple levels of people, from young kids to adults. And Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie do a great job in their roles. So I feel like that's kind of one of those things in society that we've started to try to get away from and poke holes in some of the things that were these iconic things that we had growing up. But that's just a side note to the Barbie thing. The question I have is, the Ken that you have in the office, is it a full-size cardboard cutout?
That's a good idea. No, right now we have literally Ken from the movie. I don't have a picture on my desktop. I'd post it, but yeah, you'll see it on our social media. So, and people holding it up. We have some of the Bucks cheers, kissing it. We have,
how big is this Ken? How big is it?
Ken's the doll size.
The doll. Okay. All right. I pictured you having like an artificial intelligence robot Ken greeting patients as they come in.
I like that idea. So
I'm full of something, but ideas occasionally get in there.
I like it.
So besides your Barbie obsession, what else do you do for fun?
Train. So I always have like a goal of some sort, because we always have to have goals and purpose and kind of revamp our purpose and everything. And I always get an idea in my head. And so I'm in the beginning phase, a little more than the beginning phases, but it takes a long time. So my goal is I want to go into WBFF entertainment. It's a very difficult industry. It's a very disciplined industry. You're literally leaning out and building muscle, and I'm very excited, but it's very difficult. I have a coach. WBFF.
So it's a bodybuilding program?
It's a more than that, because I'm a dancer by trade, so you're dancing on stage, but then you've also rebuilt your body. You're lean, you're not skinny. You're not like, well, you're thinking bodybuilding like IBFF. That's a different, where you pose and stuff. This is posing. This is more like entertainment. You dress up and you're showing off this hard work. It's very difficult.
Okay, so do you have a date? Like when I'm going to mark my calendar right now. Do we have a date that you have
now you're putting pressure. That's a lot of pressure. I'm hoping 2024 sometime. That's
2024. I'm noting it down right here. 2024. I will tell you. So now I'm assuming you have a program. I'm assuming you have a trainer that works with you and guides you in some of the stuff that you do.
Yes.
Do you do full body split when you work out? Do you do upper, lower split?
It depends on the day. So every day is a different training day. So it's cardio, and then again, which part are you going to focus on? I mean, oh my goodness, you're going to love this one. I did a post on our social media, you get a good laugh. I didn't even think about bringing it in, but I've never worn a weight. This is a very different for me. I've never worn a body, oh my gosh, a weight belt. See, guys usually wear it. Let me back that up. Girls wear it too now. They even have a Barbie one, but I'm not going to spoil myself yet until I figure out how to do it.
Christmas is coming. The holidays are coming. Somebody might get you a Barbie weight belt.
But anyway, I'm like, how am I going to fit in this? And Coach John at the Tampa Sports Academy, he's like, okay, let me show you. And I'm like, he's like, you got to lay on the floor and you got to suck it in. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like getting into a skinny pair of jeans on steroids. And it's very difficult. And it's just as hard to get on as it's off. I'm learning. I mean, this has just been a few weeks, 3 weeks using it. 2 weeks.
So I get the muffin top. If I wear a weight belt, I get a muffin top. But I don't lift a lot of heavy weight. I do a lot of different stuff. So are you like, is like a program laid out for weeks in advance? Like you're following a program, or does your trainer kind of bring you in and do?
This is a lot. I have a main trainer who's a pro at WBFF. So it took me about 2 years to get to that point. Then I'm on board probably about 4 months now. And so your diet is based on a macro diet. You have an app for that.
What is your carb, fat, protein gram wise?
It switches. So my protein's pretty high. So I think it's like I forgot. Don't kill me, Coach.
It's like usually about 1 pound per body, 1 pound for every pound of body.
150, something like that. Yeah. They like it up as I'm and then I have a nice carb amount, but it's a lot. I was so overwhelmed because I've never counted calories. I've never looked at carbs.
Do you use an app or anything like that?
Yes.
I use MyFitnessPal. I've used that for a long, long time. Yeah. I like it because I can scan stuff with the barcode and put it right in. But I go through phases where I feel like doing it and I don't feel like doing it. Just depends on my mood. But the key is just not burning yourself out. You know what I mean? Like you're talking about with consistency. You do need those cheat days occasionally. You do need some of that stuff, or else,
of course,
you just kind of get in that rut where you feel like you're just spinning your wheels.
Well, we call it, or as my coach Jennifer is my head coach, she calls it bite, lick, taste, BLT. So I do that. I'm sorry if someone has a cheesecake and it looks really fabulous. It's called a bite, lick, taste, and I am going to have a little bite. I put it in the macro, so I do. That's my cheating, but that's enough. But I had my fix. It was delicious. I had a hot dog the other night, but it was a bite like taste. And I don't even eat hot dogs, but I just felt like it.
It hits you. It's some kind of hits you.
I needed it.
So the biggest thing, and this, I'm not being sexist. This is just an observation as someone who's spent a few minutes in a gym. A lot of women that I see train focus heavily on their lower part of their body. The biggest thing I always found is I was always impressed when I would see women training with a full body split where they're doing upper body and lower body, not neglecting their chest and their arms and their shoulders and their back, just to do booty and thighs, because that's a lot of what seems to go on.
No, it's full body.
Yeah, sounds like you have a good program.
I'm documenting. If you want to see the journey, just don't be too critical.
We're going to do all that. So actually, that as we start to wind this down, let's do that. So if people need to find you, and we'll include all of this. We're going to include all your social tags. Okay. We're going to include your LinkedIn, your Instagram, your Facebook, your TikTok, whatever you have going on. If you have fangs being done on TikTok, whatever you're doing there, we'll include all of that. But if I need Invisalign, or if I need to have you come in and look at my gum line, and I am in need of your services, what is the best way for us to get to you today?
Any of our media, Google. So all it is, I go by, it's Dr. Hillary Dalton, but Dalton Dental. So you could just look that up and it'll come right up on your Google.
Okay. And you don't have a phone number that you want to give out or any of that stuff?
Oh, yes.
Give it out. Throw it out there.
It.
Come on.
You can either call or texting. It's 813-872-8300.
Awesome. Do you go by Dr. Hillary, Dr. Dalton, Hillary, HD? What do you go by?
Most people call me Hillary. At the office, they call me doctor. It doesn't matter as long as it's not a cuss word. I'm good.
Listen, I'm going to call you Dr. Hillary because you have earned that distinction. I don't have any distinctions. My mom would call me by my brother's name, then my other brother's name, then the dog's name. And then when she got to me, it was usually like 4th or 5th down the road. So Dr. Hillary, thank you so much for being on the Good Neighbor podcast. It was my pleasure to get to talk to you. You have an amazing afternoon.
Thank you. You too. Whee!
Thanks for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast Passcode. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnppasco.com. That's gnppasco.com or call 813-922-3610.